All right, hey, welcome my friends. Today we're doing a comparison of the 300 Blackout and the 5.56. Additionally, when we talk about 300 Blackout, we're going to be talking about subsonic ammunition and supersonic and the versatility of it. Now, before we jump in, I'm going to go ahead and give you a list of the different contexts in which case you might want to choose one or the other. And I'll also say as a side note, I was a bit surprised by my findings as I was preparing for this video. And so anyway, it's causing me to kind of backpedal and rethink some stuff. And that's always fun because it just means I'm growing and all that stuff. Before we jump in, we talk about that list of context that I want you guys to be interactive and try to guess what I'm going to say and what would be best for you as well, and see if we grow a little, change a little in the process. We got to go ahead and pay the bills. So here is an ad. Thanks for suffering through it, and I'll see you in a moment.
Hey guys, Evan Temple here. This video is sponsored by sportsmansguide.com. Use code WARPOET at checkout so that we know that we sent you. If you head on over, click on the menu, go down to Warrior Poet Society. We got a whole bevy of things where it's a curated section just for Warrior Poet Society. We're talking about gear, we're talking about outdoor accessories, we're talking about hunting accessories and the like, and you're gonna get your savings for the holidays. And that's it, guys. Head on over to Supply Co. or Sportsman's Guide for some savings and some holiday gifts, and have a wonderful Thanksgiving and holiday season with your friends from us here at Warrior Poet Society.
All right, hey, welcome back, guys. We're jumping into it. We're excited. Let's go ahead and like the video, comment down below, ensure you're subscribed and toggle notifications bell to all. Check down below for any relevant links, and we are in the video. Here we go. So let me, hold on, get my little cheat sheet here, or check the gram. You don't really know. So which round would I choose? The 300 subsonic, that's below the sound barrier. Supersonic, 300 supersonic, so you're going to have that sonic crack when it goes above 1100-ish feet per second, or the 5.56 round. So which one of these rounds in the following scenario? 300 black subsonic, 300 black supersonic, or 5.56? Now here are the different contexts. And I'm going to go ahead and put this down below in the description so you can kind of copy all the stuff I'm going to say and then just fill in 300 super, sub, or 5.56. All right, folks, so here's the list. Hog hunting. Would I prefer to have the 300 super, the 300 sub, or the 5.56 for hog hunting? For sentry removal, which one of these rounds? Now for range practice, just burning it down. Then for a zombie apocalypse, which one? Then the just a human apocalypse, so everything's falling to shambles, but there's no flesh-eating zombies. Then home defense, which one of these? That's a burning question for you, for me as well. I can't wait to see what I'm going to say. And then also fighting around vehicles. Which round would I choose for fighting around vehicles? All right, now before we jump into the pros and cons of the ammunition types, let's meet our girls here. This is a 300 Blackout. Starting from the muzzle and working our way back very quickly. This is an OSS can. I like OSS, however, not as much for this setup. I'll do a can video in the future and discuss all things because I like to party. This is a Surefire Scout Light right here with a pressure switch here and a APL infrared laser here. This is a primary arms ACSS reticle in 300 Blackout on top with a throw switch here. It's a Franken gun build of all kinds. I'm not even sure what the upper is, but I have it. It's a Midwest rail, and you'll notice that the can is recessed into it. There's strengths and weaknesses to that I can talk about in later videos. This is a pistol brace, and then we have one of our, what do we call these? Pistol brace straps? I don't know, but it kind of fixes that split back there. So holy cow, it's on all my guns. Really, really like that. And of course, a Warrior Poet sling, but you guys saw that coming. All right, and this is a 5.56 gun. I've got a Surefire can on the front, M-lock rail, just a bird cage for muzzle device. Again, a Warrior Poet sling, a 50 round drum, because you guys, I've said this before, I do in fact like to party, and this has lots of party favors. This is just a Palmetto State gun, and yay for that. Hollison optic, awesome. So those are the guns that we're dealing with up here. Doesn't really matter because most of the video has to do with the round themselves. However, the length of the muzzle is extremely important as we talk about all this. So as we go through our pros and cons, I'm gonna have to speak some to that. All right, guys, we're gonna go through the pros of a 300 Blackout first. Now, I'll start with the most important thing in my estimation first, and it's really the reason why 300 Blackout was made, and that's to be able to suppress it extremely well. Some people cry out when you call this silencer a silencer. That's the name on the patent. It's technically called a silencer. However, silencers don't actually make something truly silent like in the movies. Well, that's pretty true unless you have a 300 Blackout with a really quiet can. You can get extremely quiet, meaning if I shot our cameraman in this room right now, the guys next door might not really register that a shot has been fired. I mean, maybe somebody knocked over something. Really, the big noise that you would experience, I was not actually threatening to kill you. It sounded like a tacit threat.
That hurt.
I didn't shoot you, so if you... Anyway, I'm not threatening to murder my cameraman. But if I did murder my cameraman, the guys next door would have no real idea if I shot him with this one because it's super duper quiet, and I think that's really, really awesome. That's assuming that you use a subsonic round. When you use a subsonic round, that means it's traveling much slower, which means it's causing much less damage. So I may want to do a 2 to the body and 1 to the head if I've got subs. If I do supers, now it's just a normal 30 cal round, and everyone is going to be able to hear that. And so you lose the point in many ways with the silencer when you go super. And so silencer plus subsonic ammunition is really, really awesome. You can get very, very quiet. Additionally, the 300 Blackout was built to burn a lot more powder in a shorter distance than the 5.56. That means whereas I may not really want to drop below about 11-inch barrel on a 5.56, on this one, I'm fine going to 8 inches or 9 inches, right? And so you can get a shorter gun. And really, 5.56 would really prefer to have something like a 16-inch barrel or an 18-inch barrel to really be able to get the max benefits out of this 5.56. Now, I'm not going to do that because now I've got this long musket bow weaving in and out of structures and vehicles, and it's extremely obnoxious. So I'm willing to sacrifice some barrel length on a 5.56. So that I can be able to weave in and around structures. This right here, I'm really getting a lot more powder burn earlier. Now, the longer you get your muzzles, the faster your bullets are generally going to go. That's not true out to, you know, a point, meaning if you put a 45-inch barrel on, you're just going to be a moron, and it's not going to really give you the returns. You're going to have diminishing returns out there. But at 9 inches right here, this one's going to give me all kinds of great terminal ballistic effects. Now, another benefit here on silencing something like a 300 Blackout versus silencing an AR, because you're going to have a lot more built-up gases in a barrel of a 5.56 and the velocity of rounds, these tend to be far gassier than a 300 Blackout. Now, gassy, I don't mean your gun ate too many burritos. That's not what I had in mind with gassy. What I mean is gases from the trajectory of the round. It's a different gas. It doesn't smell as bad, but it definitely burns your eyes. It definitely burns your eyes, and it makes it very difficult to shoot. Very unpleasant. 300 Blackout isn't going to give you nearly as much gas back here as something like a 5.56, and so that's a really good thing, and this is shoots far better suppressed than something like a 5.56, which is loud, and this isn't. This is gassy, and this isn't. So in review, it's easier to make this gun much, much quieter, and it's also less gassy. So there's 2 pros. A third pro is because of the way this gun is designed, and oh, I'm holding the wrong bullet. 300 Blackout is designed, you can get a far more full powder burn in a shorter distance than you can with something like a 5.56. In a 5.56, that round would really prefer to have something 16, 18, 20-inch barrel to really get the max benefits out of this round, the 5.56. However, I can do something similar in like 9 inches over here, or 10 inches. So obviously, if you have a longer barrel, that allows more pressure to build up, and so you can get more energy and more velocity out of longer barrels. But my big goal is I would like to have the shortest barrel as possible without sacrificing too much terminal ballistics. Every time you cut an inch off a barrel, whether it's 5.56 or 300 Blackout, the round is slowing down. But like a 9-inch barrel for a 300 Blackout or something like a 12-inch barrel for a 5.56, those are both pretty good places to land, but this one's going to do better with a shorter barrel. Fourth and final benefit I'll give you for the 300 Blackout, other than the name, that should really count as a benefit. 300 Blackout, you know, it sounds cooler. So it sounds cool. That's number 4. So a fifth is the size of the round. Now, the 5.56 is screaming out much, much faster. However, the size of the bullet's going to give you all kinds of added benefits for terminal ballistics. It's going to do some nasty things, and so yay for that, especially when you go to a supersonic. It's not going to do nearly as much with a subsonic as with a super, but both are very, very good. All right, guys, moving on to the 5.56. I'm going to give you some pros and some cons. The first pro is ammo is more abundant. So if you had to go Walking Dead scavenger and you're looking through houses and these people are long gone and you came across an ammo stockpile, it's far more likely you're going to find a bunch of 5.56 than a 300 Blackout. So it's far more universal. You know, in a military unit, if I was just all of a sudden to be dropped back in my old Ranger platoon, I want a 5.56 because that's what everyone else is carrying, right? So it's far more of a universal round, and so we'll give that a pro number 1. A pro number 2 is the cost of ammo is significantly less. Now, I'll say the 300 Blackout because it's been around for quite a few years now, and it's gotten a lot more popularity and adoption. That gap is closing, but as it stands, 5.56 is a good bit less expensive still. Now, many of you will jump in the comments and say, hey, both of them are extremely expensive because Bidenomics, which is basically try to make everything cost as much as possible. So there's that. But the ammo does cost a little bit less, so that'll be number 2 benefit. Third benefit is it is a lighter round, and so whether you're transporting a stockpile to or fro, it's just easier to transport it, and it's also easier to carry 5.56. Though I will say of like the difference between holding like 4 mags of 5.56 versus 300 Blackout, it's going to be pretty negligible. It is a pro, but I'll just say that's not a very good pro, though it's a pro. A fourth pro is it's a faster traveling round. That means if I'm shooting something at 200, 300, 400, 500 meters or so, this is going to be in the air a shorter time than something like a 300 Blackout because this is traveling faster. That means gravity isn't acting on it for a less amount of time, which means my bullet drop will be less. Neither one of these rounds is any more accurate than the other. Accuracy really has less to do with the caliber. It has more to do with how well is your barrel built and how good is the round. These are just, this is ball ammo and this is Sierra match. And so it really comes down to what is the better ammo and what's the better barrel. Though they may be perfectly the same in accuracy, I'm going to have a bigger hold with a 300 Blackout because it's heavier. It's moving slower, so gravity is working on it longer. It doesn't fall faster because of physics. They both hit the ground at the same time, even if they are the same weight. Thank you, Miss McCloskey, my physics teacher. I know that because of you. That wasn't actually my physics teacher. I can't remember my physics teacher's name. Now, that's just one variable to longer range shooting because the 5.56 is so light. Once it reaches a certain speed and it starts to tumble, the terminal ballistics tank. So even if you hit something far away, it's just not going to have a lot of destructive power, and it really just starts tanking. It doesn't have the weight to really stay around very long. So if you're going to do a really, really long shot, nobody's going to be doing 5.56 stuff. They'll move to a bigger caliber, a 30 cal with more weight and more heft. This cartridge just doesn't have a lot of powder in it though, so you're just not going to get out super far with this versus something like a 338 Lapua or something like that. That's really going to be able to push a lot of lead out really far. So neither one of these rounds is going to be particularly amazing at reaching out or 1,000 meters or something like that. But I'll just go ahead and say, hey, it's lighter, so you don't have to think about your holds as much inside 400 meters or so. So yay for that. Again, that's not just a super big pro either, in my opinion. If you know your holds, you're good, and it's not like this massive difference. Unless 300 super to 300 sub is a massive difference. Right now, this 300 Blackout is zeroed for subsonic ammunition. And if I put supersonic in this gun and I shot with this same zero, the rounds would be nowhere close. So just understand your gun has a zero with subsonic ammunition or super. You can't just throw different rounds in and think that you're going to be able to hit something at 200 meters. You're not. That's a different zero. Now, what you can do is go ahead and zero this at 100 meters with a 300 Blackout supersonic round. Then, after you're nice and zeroed at your 100 meter zero or whatever, go ahead and take a 300 super, shoot it, and notice where your hold is going to have to be. Out of this ACSS reticle, I forget exactly where it is, but I think I have to hold down at the 4 to be able to hit. So that's a significant drop. But if you know that, you can go back and forth between subs and supers without too much problem. So unless you try to shoot your subs at like 300 meters and then you hold at the sun so that hopefully it'll come down one day and hit your target. All right, guys, so there's some good pros for the 5.56 and 300 Blackout. Very fun, guys. I hope you've enjoyed that. And we're going to return to our list now. So for hog hunting, which round did I choose? I'll put it all out here so I can be all dramatic. Super, sub, 5.56. I chose the 300 super to take down a hog. Some of those hogs get really big, and so I would like to be able to just shred it, and I want as much mass and as much speed as I can get, and this is going to really destroy animals this big or much bigger. 300 super absolutely is what I choose. Now for sentry removal, no surprise here, the 300 Blackout subsonic round is going to be extremely good and very, very quiet if you select a good can. So absolutely going to be using the 300 sub for my pipe dream sentry removal scenario. Third one I listed was range practice. Oh, without a doubt, 5.56 all the way. I've got a ton of this stuff. It's not very expensive to shoot, and so yay for that. Absolutely going with that. For the zombie apocalypse, I just can't decide. What you should really do is not be pushed into the false dichotomy of choosing one or the other. The beauty about the AR-15 platform is I can take this lower and put it on a 300 Blackout upper or a 5.56 upper. So buy a 5.56 gun and then buy a 300 Blackout upper. So you can swap these. You pull your two takedown pins and you put a 300 Blackout upper in. So don't play the game on this. You need both for the zombie apocalypse. Zombie apocalypse, you don't want to draw a crowd of flesh-eating zombies, and so sometimes you got to be real quiet and just take a zombie out. And other times you just got to go full crazy, 5.56, drop them all. And so there's a time and place. If I'm getting mobbed by a bunch of zombies, I think I want my 300 Blackout, right? Which I've got more stockpiled ammo for. So there you go, get both. Now, some of you say, hey, John, I really have to choose between one or the other. Money is tight, and I am totally sensitive to that. So what you can do is go ahead and get your one gun, get a 5.56 gun, and then give your wife a 300 Blackout upper for Christmas. Christmas is coming up, because you have to buy your wife a Christmas present. And hope you have a prenup, because my wife would take the 300 Blackout and then murder me with it. So
That's true. That is true.
that's all. Hey, write down below in the description, what is the worst present you've ever gotten for Christmas, and what is the dumbest thing, the biggest crash and burn you've ever gotten your significant other for Christmas. I bought my wife a vacuum once for Christmas, and she's never let me live it down. So dumb young John. We were broke. We had no money, and she really wanted this nice vacuum, and so I got it for her. I got her other stuff too, but that was one thing, and that was really dumb idea. I'm so embarrassed. I give good gifts now, but man, that was so dumb. All right. For home defense, this was extremely difficult, and really I've been undecided for quite a while, and I've vacillated between 5.56 and 300 Blackout, and so I really don't know. So I'm going to go ahead and pull a wild card, and I'm going to go a hand grenade. Now, some of you say, hey, you got kids, you got a dog, you got your wife, and I'm like, I'm going to use a hand grenade, and you guys can't stop me. So hand grenade's going to be the way it goes. Sorry for collateral damage. We all have life insurance, and so I don't know. A claymore probably.
That's terrible. I have life insurance, don't worry about it. That's cool.
Some people are going to watch this video and take me way too seriously, and you guys are morons if you do. I'm making jokes. I can't make up my mind, and so I'm gonna make everyone upset. I'm undecided. I'll flip a coin. I don't know what to use. But right now it's a 5.56, so there you go. Fighting around vehicles, 300 Super is going to push through ballistic barriers better, and so that's really good. Whether I'm pushing through car windows or car doors, I'd rather have a 300 Super because you can't hide behind as much when you have that. As soon as I bring up the subject of vehicles, I have all kinds of stuff that floods into my head, all these different contexts and scenarios. So don't rake me over the coals. I'm probably well aware of whatever idiosyncrasy you're going to be listing there, but that's generally there. So if you're concerned about over penetration, what I mean by that is you shoot a wall and then the bullet goes through that wall and then through another wall and then hits somebody on the other side of something. A really, really bad thing. The problem is if a round is to do a lot of damage in putting somebody down, then it's designed to penetrate. But the bullet can't distinguish between a sheet of drywall and a human body very well, in that it's trying to penetrate, and drywall just isn't very thick. So all of these rounds are going to scream straight through a sheet of drywall after drywall after drywall. A 300 Super is going to penetrate a lot farther than a 5.56 through drywall. A sub will penetrate less than the 300 Super, but all of them are going to be going through walls. If you're really worried about over penetration, then you want something like a frangible round. That's obviously what you want to land at, but just realize you got to know what's on the other side of the walls. No matter what you're shooting, you got to know your target, what's beyond it, in front of it, to the left, to the right of it. So understand that thing. You can't eliminate over penetration completely, but still have a good defensive round. You just can't have your cake and eat it too completely. So there's that caveat. All right, so we got through our list. We did pros of 300 Blackout versus 5.56, and I was really amazed in how many contexts that the 300 Blackout really shone for me. Of like, I should have more 300 Blackout guns than I have. I mean, I have quite a few, but I think I should get quite a few more because America and stuff. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in for this video. Make sure you like and comment, share, subscribe. Check down below for any relevant links that helps us out, helps you out too. Channel sponsor, thanks so much for hooking us up. Guys, check out our WPSN app. Really appreciate it. Train hard, train smart, and we'll see you in future videos. See you guys.